Right on.
But you had asked about the album, and basically, we're just selling the hard copies ourselves. You know,
Uh-huh.
um, I don't have them in stores or anything like that. But with Facebook, you don't really need that. People contact us all the time and order albums. So
Although all the albums are available on Bandcamp at St. Madness, and you can get all the albums all the way going back, including the original "Loneliness Is Black" under Crown of Thorns. Also, the available "Prophet and the Cowboys of the Apocalypse" side projects.
yeah, and they're all on Bandcamp. They're on iTunes. They're on Reverb Nation. They're on Spotify.
You can order them either hard copy through there or download the digital.
Nice.
Yeah, it's very available. Or once again, you can go to YouTube and just type in St. Madness, and you'll see a shitload of videos come up and songs and everything.
Nice.
It's so much stuff on there. I don't even know how much now.
Yeah.
And of course, you get other fan videos and stuff. So it's nice. It's nice that all that's out there. It certainly gave bands a heck of a lot more reach, and it eliminated the need for the majors because back in the 90s and 80s, only they had the addresses and phone numbers
Right.
to the magazines and to the radio stations, and only they knew how to pay payola and all that.
Yeah.
Once the internet came out, it enabled bands that were willing to do the work for themselves to get out there and contact all these places that before it was only the majors that could get them there, set up tours, connect with bookers, all those things
Connect with hookers.
Yeah, and hookers. but all the things that they had to have a major label for, they could do it themselves. So the good side of the internet is it provided information. And people, don't ever forget the value of being able to go out there and find anything you want.
And instant contact. I mean, instant.
Contact.
Yeah.
So.
And you can't stop certain things. Like we found sites in Australia and I think Germany that give away our whole albums for free and stuff. And you can't stop them. You can't stop it. So you've just got to find a way to work with it.
Yeah.
But like back in the day, if you signed to a label, you signed what was called a record deal, and they still call it a record deal. Well, that was because your record was your bread and butter, but now a record is kind of an afterthought because you can't sign a record deal if nobody buys records. So I think
the 380s about merch.
Yeah, I think now what bands will be doing is signing a merch deal. You'll still make a record and you'll still do the recording and all that. But it's kind of gone back to the days like in the 50s when Elvis came out. He would record singles, and the singles would be put on the radio. He didn't even have an album. It was just two songs, front and the back. And, they would promote those singles, and then over time they'd have enough songs and they'd make a record out of it. But now it's kind of the same thing because the person will hear a song by a band, and they'll go on Spotify or wherever, and they'll get that song. And they don't really care if there's an album. They just want the songs that they like. So it's kind of gone back to the way it originally started out, to the singles. But we still make records because I love bands like Pink Floyd that do concept albums. And all of our albums are concept albums to a degree. I like to add all kinds of sound effects in the background and voices buried in the music. And we do the same thing in the artwork. And we just I like to make our albums 3D, where it's not just 10 songs that you listen to, but I want it to be an experience for the listener.
And you lose that when you only buy a single. You lose the concept if there was a concept if there's a story that runs to the album. You miss so much now because everything's reduced to a marketable single.
Yeah.
I put a ghost track on Bloodlustcapades. It's track number 14, and it's not in the listing on the book or anything. And it's basically, I've got a parrot that's 42 years old, and he was my mom's parrot. His name is Noah. And she taught him how to sing. So he sings "Oh Solo Mio" and "Mary Had a Little Lamb" and "Oh Beautiful for Spacious Skies," and he's got this wonderful vibrato and all that. So I put him on the album.
Right on.
And you'll never hear them unless you order the ghost track.
That's right. You have to get the record. But I think it's on YouTube, but it's like under St. Madness Bloodlustcapades bonus track or something like that.
Huh.
I think it is on YouTube.
That's funny.
Big Pat to put Noah on an album for years. So this last time he accommodated me.
And what we did is Sid Ripster, my lead guitar player, and I, we were at his house and we were looking around for different samples and whatever, and his wife was down the hall in the living room watching Perry Mason. And as we were listening to the samples, it got quiet for a minute, and I could hear this great echo of Perry Mason talking coming down the hallway. And I said, Sid, do me a favor, set up a mic real quick and just record like a couple minutes of that sound of Perry Mason's show coming down the hallway. So he recorded that, and then we found some lady had posted a video about how horrible her husband snores, and he does. He's got like this really loud snore. So we got the audio of him snoring, and we mixed it with the Perry Mason sound, and then we threw Noah singing over the top of it, and that's track number 14.
So Noah finally got on an album.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he'll probably become more popular than me.
Noah sings.
Noah sings the hits.
Yeah. That's the way the music business works. You work your tail off your entire life. You put some video that goes viral up of your cat chasing something down the hallway. You know? Finally, you get views.
Oh, what's funny is like on Facebook, you know, some guy will go on there and he'll pour his heart out, you know, and he'll get like 65 likes. And some girl will just post a picture of herself in a low-cut dress, and it's got like 1,500 likes.
Yeah.
Wow. We know what's really important, don't we?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's where the humility part comes in.
Right on.
Right on.
I got my son here too, and he plays Happy Evil with the band, and he's one of our crew chiefs. And he literally grew up in the band from the time he was a little boy. I had him on stage with us, and it was cute. When he was real young, I'd paint his face to look like mine, and we'd bring him out on stage, and he'd sing backup with me and stuff when he was little. And he plays a character with the band called Happy Evil. And the cover of the Bloodlustcapade album is that character. It's the smiley face with the X's over the eyes and the evil grin.
The big middle finger.
Yeah, and that's the character that Josh plays.
Nice. Right on.
But he's watched every incarnation of the band from the beginning.
And hold its equipment.
Yeah, he's hauled its equipment, set up to the stages. Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah, we're very fortunate. We've had members of our crew that have been with us for over 20 years and still show up. So I'm really thankful. Thank your crews, you bands out there. These guys take such good care of you. You get to go up there, the people that have one or people that help you, that lets you go up there and put your attention on your fans and plan a great show rather than all those little details that luckily your crew members chase down for you.
And most of your crew in most bands are volunteers,
Yeah.
you know, and you can't ever forget those people because they're the ones that work their ass off to help your band to shine.
It's really nice when people say thank you. We appreciate that.
Yep.
Nice.
We've had crew members quit over band members that wouldn't say thank you over the course of their working together. I'm always shocked when I hear it, and frankly, I yell at them like a mom because these are my crew members, you know, and I want them respected. And as long as they're doing their job and working hard, everybody should treat them that way.
Absolutely.
Because it's real symbiotic. The bands, the band, the crew, the venues. None of us can survive without each other. You know, roadies need a band to roadie, and bands need venues to play in, and fans to come out
And radio stations to play your music. And we're all in this together.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Whether we recognize it or not, we all need each other. And, you know, there have been times where when the band would get paid, we make sure the crew gets paid before we do.
Right.
Because they work hard. I get to get up there and sing and have people applaud. Nobody applauds for the crew unless you bring it up to the audience's attention.
Yeah.
We get all the accolades. We're in the band. But those people that hump your gear for you and set up your stages, and they show up night after night, and, you know, I mean, God.
And their tongues are hanging while you're up there getting girls patting you. And
although they do get laid quite a bit.
more than the band,
Yeah.
probably.
Josh, you've got laid a few times at a few shows, right?
A few. More than I can count, actually, but I'm very fortunate.
Just America.
Behind dumpsters in cars, backstage rooms, whatever. Bathrooms.
Yeah, every time we lost the roadies on tour, it's always because they took off with the girl. You know, band comes off stage, they're all tired. Roadies are throwing shit in the freaking trailer because the girls are waiting. You know, bus calls noon, there's no sign of them anywhere. You know, mad. Yeah, you bet.
Nice.
Are you familiar with the Milwaukee Metal Fest?
What's that?
Are you familiar with the Milwaukee Metal Fest that they used to have?
You know, I can't say that I am.
Yeah, they used to. We played two of them in 1998 and 1999, and they were awesome. They would have 100 bands from all over the world, and they'd all take part in these festivals. And we got to play two of them. And the first one we played, Death was part of it, so was Merciful Fate and Mortician, Iced Earth. Lamb of God was part of it, but they were called Burn the Priest back then. And it was funny because 90% of all the bands were black and death metal. And then there was like 10% of the bands that were like thrash metal or different kinds of metal, and we were in that 10%. And everybody was in black clothes. It was awesome. You saw a sea of people in black. And we had just the best time, you know, and I love to take part in things like that.
That's cool. Yeah, when I ever make 300 or 400 big bags of money, I got this idea where I'm going to have to find a central location, somewhere where it doesn't rain all the time. Maybe in the desert. I don't know, but I'm going to pipe
You
in.
mean like Arizona?
Yeah, maybe Arizona or Nevada or something like that, and have a bunch of have a stage and have a bunch of bands from all over show up.
Yeah.
That's what the Milwaukee Metal Fest was. It brought them in from all over the world.
Yeah.
And they ran 140 bands through in 3 days.
Wow. That's awesome.
And it was they had 3 stages. They had a main stage for the big headliners and the bigger mid-level indies and underground. And then the Relapse Records had a stage, and then I can't remember who sponsored the other one both years.
Yeah, I don't remember.
But it was phenomenal because it was just 3 solid days of metal.
Well, I'll give you an example. If you ever watch any of the Pantera Vulgar videos, the third one was called Watch It Go. And that building that they were all running around in there was the building where they always had the Milwaukee Metal Fest. It was called the Eagles Auditorium.
Nice.
Yeah.
And some crowbar.
Right on.
Everybody played there.
Everybody played it. It was great.
Didn't some band bring like a head of a
Yeah,
horse?
they brought a horse head, and
They got it from a slaughterhouse.
and they pulled it off the bus, off their tour bus, right in front of our tour bus, and it was like 3 a.m, and people were stupid drunk at that point, you know, and a couple of our guys were pretty pissed off and wanted to do something about it, and that's why I keep the gun locked up in the safe, you know. Yeah, we got great, you know, gosh, once you leave home, all bets are off, you know, and we've been busted on the sides of highways and had dogs getting all excited in the back of cop cars, and, you know, lost roadies halfway across America.
Yeah,
there's always great stories about that, so, yeah, that's what, that really tests the mettle of a band, because by the time you've been together about 10 days, you hate each other. You've all been
when you're on the road together.
On this bus. I don't care how big and how long that bus is. When there's 8 to 10 of you all on it, you get pretty hateful by the end of your time together. You know.
In the '90s, we had our own bus, and so we would take 8 or 10 people, and go across country with it and play shows. And yeah, and invariably, you always have a couple people that are really clean and a couple people that are total slobs, and you're trying to exist together in this sardine can. And yeah, you've got to have a lot of patience with each other on the road.
Yeah, we've had some moments on the road, that's for sure. And you think you're going to prison every state you go through because you got to ride with all your curtains pulled closed. And I told Pat, frankly, I want to paint "Behold the Resurrection" or something like that along the side of the bus, because the second they see all that long hair, you're busted.
Yeah, they pull you over.
You get pulled over. It doesn't matter. We learned, boy. You pull all them blinds closed. Driver pulls his hair back. You do everything you can to try and save yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got pulled over in Oklahoma on the turnpike, and basically it was 1999, and we were on our way to do a show in Springfield, Missouri, and a cop pulled us over, and because of course our bass player was driving the bus and he had long hair, and he saw him and pulled him right over. But the cop, whose name was Officer Rosenberg, I'll never forget his name, he said, I know you guys are a heavy metal band and you probably, party a bit. And he said, I tell you what, if the only thing you have on you is marijuana, you give me your marijuana and I'll let you go and I'll make sure you make your next show. He said, but if I find anything else on that bus, you're all going to jail. So I looked at him, I said, so you're telling me that if we have marijuana and we give it to you, you're going to let us go? He said, that's what I'm telling you. And Marge said, well, I want you to shake my hand as a man so that you can know that if you turn around and bust us, that you're basically a liar. And he said,
so you're just a lying piece of shit if you lied to us.
He said, no, I'm telling you the truth. You bring it to me and I'll let you guys go. So I went on the bus, and I think we had an ounce of pot, and it was all rolled in joints. And I brought it back to him, and I gave it to him. And he said, is that all there is? And I said, well, I got to be honest with you. We had a little bit more, but one of our guys got scared when we got pulled over, so he stuck it down the shitter. And he goes, well, you can keep that. Anyway, after about an hour and a half of standing in the sun, and it was July, he let us go. So as soon as we got on the bus, our crewman reached in the shitter, and he had the weed in a Ziploc bag rolled. So as soon as we pulled it out, he pulled it out of there, and we lit up a joint and went on to Springfield and did our show.
Yeah, at one point he calls me back to the bus. We're about 100 feet in front of the bus, waving at the rest of the people heading to the same show as they go by. And he calls me back, and he sits me down at my own dinette and says, so, does anybody else on this bus wear a bra and panties but you? And I looked, and he holds up this little baggie full of white dust. And I just froze, because I'm like, oh, my God, somebody stashed that in my bag, I looked at him, and I said, well, this is a theatrical band, so no, I can't promise you nobody else wears a bra and panty but me. I said, but let's assume it was me. Why? And I'm my brain just froze. He's showing me this bag, and my next thought is like, oh my God, I'm going to spend the next 5 years in the Oklahoma State Women's Penitentiary. We go my bus, I just froze, And all of a sudden, I looked at him and I said, dude, lick it. And he goes, look, what will I find if I lick it? And I said, do you see how old we are? I said, every night when we go on stage, I just kind of dump the medicine chest into this bag. So there's like aspirin and Tylenol and a couple of Pepto-Bismols and Tums. I said, lick it, it's damn aspirin dust, may I go. And at the end, I told him, I said, dude, you put another 100 gray hairs on my head today. But, they let us go.
Nice. He
kept his word, He even said at one point, he goes, lady, you don't want me to release my dog in your bus because he's shedding. And I'm like, I don't.
So you know what I did though when I went on the bus and I got the weed for him, I grabbed a pepper shaker and I peppered all the carpets and the chairs so that if he did send the dog on there, the only thing he was going to smell was pepper.
Yeah, good times.
That's why Marge wanted to put "Behold the Resurrection" on the side of the bus so they'd think we were a Christian singing group or something.
Yeah. I thought maybe that'd get them to stop stopping us every city we went through.
It's too funny.
Luckily, we always walked away and didn't have any real problems, you know. But what we learned from owning your own bus is it's very costly. And on one of the trips, I think we blew 4 tires, and the tires were like $500 a tire.
Damn.
And so yeah, it's very costly. I guess that's why most bands just rent.
And then we blew all our belts on. We had made it as far as St. John's, Arizona, which was only a couple hours from home. And we blew a belt that like took out 2 other belts. And of course I had a small block cat engine in the thing, and only cat dealers carry the belts for these things. So we had to send somebody back to Albuquerque, and I started crying in St. John's, Arizona, because I had already spent about $5,000 in repairs on that trip alone.
Wow.
And I did. I sent it back and I said, and for God's sakes, buy 2 sets. You know.
Yeah.
And so it just is. And now with the cost of fuel where it's at, what used to cost me $100 to fill up, it's probably a $500 fill up today.
Yeah.
You know, and you just can't even start out the door.
Yeah.
So
not with the bus.
Not with the bus. That's why even Jim Dandy and Black Oak, Arkansas, which was an extremely famous Southern rock band from the 70s, came through Phoenix, and even they were taking a real nice van and a nice trailer, you know, because even the big boys, unless they're making a lot of money currently, they can't afford to take the buses out either.
No, because I think a bus now is something like $7,000 a week or something like that to rent it.
And the driver has to have X amount in a hotel, and it's not cheap.
Wow.
Yeah. Metallica said they lost $1 million a show on their last tour.
Holy crap.
Yeah. Ticket prices have gotten too high. The labels, first they did it to records, and it destroyed the labels. I mean, there was times that we'd look out, we'd be in a store, and there'd be one of our records for $18 damn. And I'm sorry, that's when they drove regular albums up to that price, $15 to $18, they destroyed their industry.
Yeah.
You know, and then when they couldn't make it on the record albums, they moved over to the live events.
Yeah.
And now trying to go to any show within anything that isn't nosebleed for under $100 a seat.
Yeah, it's freaking crazy.
And now they're destroying live music that way.
Yeah. That was Pearl Jam's big argument in the 90s about how much they were charging for ticket prices, and they were trying to do something to stop it, you know, but of course you couldn't stop it.
So now they're eating their own by driving the ticket prices out of reality.
Yeah.
They just don't learn. No matter what they do to hurt themselves, they just keep repeating it over and over again, and of course not getting a different result.
Yeah.
Well, then you buy tickets online, you know, from Ticketmaster, and then they charge you a handling fee.
Yeah.
Right.
What the fuck is a handling fee?
Yeah, exactly. They're not even doing anything.
Extra $10 on it.
Yeah.
And then you go to the show, and they want anywhere from $5 to $10 for a bottle of water.
Yeah.
Right.
That's horrible.
Yeah.
Or they take your lighters in your belt, and then they sell them on the inside.
Yeah.
You have to buy them on the inside.
Yeah, you have to have a concert-approved lighter that's like $8.
But what's sad, like here in Arizona, as we know, it gets really hot. So you go to an outdoor festival here, and it's 110 out, and in the covered place where all the seats are and it's covered, they have that roped off until the sun goes down. They don't want you to go sit in your covered seats. So you're out in the sun, and then you have to spend these huge, amounts of money just to get a damn bottle of water.
Right.
And to me, that's wrong, because you can have people have heat stroke and become very ill. And I just don't understand why it's got to be like that.
Yeah.
And so they again start destroying another aspect of the industry, that they're not the only players. You know, there's an awful lot of people from from the venue employees to the staging companies to think about how many people's jobs are involved in these big concerts, that as they continue to destroy the concert event system, those people are now out of work as well.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just sad because they just, the majors did this, and it is coming back, and DIY and the smaller labels are doing better and better, but it's a slow rebuilding process, just like it was to get where it was to begin with. And they got to learn some lessons, because if they don't, they're just doomed to keep doing this.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, they can't, it's like the live event price, they can't charge a ticket price
Oh,
today
it's
and expect,
crazy.
I mean, like, I wanted to go see Alice Cooper a couple of months ago. And I've seen him, I don't know, 4 times, 4 or 5 times. And I haven't spent that much total for all the concerts and all the albums put together
Right.
Yeah.
that they wanted
Yeah.
for one concert ticket. And I'm like, that
Yeah.
is insane.
Right.
It is. And it's destructive to the business. I always say it's sad, but the artist is the bottom feeder of his own industry.
Yeah.
No matter what deal you get, no matter whether it's live playing, whatever it is, the artist seems to always get the least amount out of everything. All the 10 percenters and 15 percenters and
Yeah.
handling fees, and everybody in the world makes money, and the artist is the last one they even consider.
Yeah.
And that galls me, because you have no industry without the artist to begin with.
Absolutely.
And that was my little rant.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. If you woke up tomorrow and there was no music anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, all of our lives are filled with music. That's how important it is to all of us.
Yeah.
So I don't know where it's going to go from here. I'm sure eventually they'll figure it out, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Not going along too well right now.
And you can't depend on album sales anymore because everything's on YouTube now.
Right, we talked about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to like sell your merch. You got to sell merch like crazy.
Yeah,
Right.
shirts, hats, keychains, anything that has your name on it, stickers, posters, bandanas, anything you can put your band name on.
We
Yeah.
still make posters. They're still popular. People like them because they can get them signed and stuff.
Yeah, we still make concert posters for our shows, and yeah, the fans appreciate them.
That's cool.
But we kind of do our own thing. We always have, and we always will until we can't do it no more.